Right here. Top 5 questions for moi. And they're good. I picked out from 25 questions, I picked out some really good ones. Lately, you have been doing a lot of baking and sharing your treats. What started this? Do you enjoy it? And how do I get on the list? Well, let's slow the train down. There's a lot of things I want to say about this question. First and foremost, I started the baking because my grandma always would tell me, my kitchen is off limits because you will burn the house down. Didn't matter if I was going in there to use the microwave, I would burn the house down. That was just her opinion. Um, I have started a lot of baking, yes. Basically, I want to learn how to bake because I see adoption in my future. And as an adoptive mom, I'm pretty sure that there's going to be plenty of times when my kid's going to have to bring something to school, when we're going to have a need for us to have a home cooked meal, and I need to know this. So it's important for me to bake, important for me to learn. Why do I share it? I share it because I feel like giving, and I feel like seeing honest opinions come back. And trust me, there's times when y'all are very honest with me, and you're like, okay, you could tweak this, you could, do better on this. And I think constructive criticism now is awesome. There was times I would say it wasn't so awesome, but now I think it's great. And of course, what started it would be, I felt like a big void in my life because of course, I would do my workout. I would do everything by the book when it came to my PCOS, when grandma was alive, but then started that void of like, okay, there's nobody here to watch late night TV with. There's nobody here to discuss my day with. Grandpa goes to bed early, so what am I going to do? Learn to cook. And do I enjoy it? Well, they always say put your heart into what you cook and it shows. And I think there's times now when I cook and I take extra time and I take extra effort to show everyone how much they matter to me. Is there a list to get on? Right now, I've kind of shortened the list down a little bit because I feel like I don't want to be taken advantage of, A. B, it's expensive because you got to go out and buy the little containers to put everything in, and you got to buy ingredients. So I try to limit who I give things to, and it's not quite as often. It's just when I feel like, okay, you know what, I have some energy tonight, let's go cook. So that's where I am with that. Number 2, with your PCOS and your body struggle, you share all of it with us. Is there ever a point that you regret it? There's a point I'm sure that my mom would answer this question, yes. But to me, I don't regret sharing it with you. I want everyone to know that I have PCOS, that I have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I want to shout it from the rooftops because to me, they need to find a cure for it. And if I can bring awareness, if I can get people to go, okay, you know what is this? And what all the symptoms and what goes on with her on a daily basis? Why is she depressed when she should be happy? Why is she happy when, like little things, and why does this affect her when this shouldn't affect her at all? If I can and why do I jump to conclusions and assume the worst? The little insecurities, just the little things that combine with that PCOS and that combine with me wanting to eat the naughty stuff, if you will, that's the problem I want to bring to the forefront. I never regret anything let me take that back. There's times when I have regretted posting a few things on YouTube, and when I do, I usually take them down or remove them. But with my polycystic ovarian syndrome, I don't regret sharing one moment with you. Number 3, I noticed that when you decorate for 2 holidays at a time. Why? I think that over the years, especially, you learn that you have to appreciate time, and it's such a gift, and you're never promised the next day. So just in case something should happen to me, God forbid, the house is prepared for the next holiday. And I am a person of order. Sometimes my bed would say otherwise, because it's full of just, well, it's like my workroom, my office, my bedroom is now. So my bedroom entertainment room and is the front room, because there's the TV in there, my weights are in there, and the couch is my bed because I feel more comfortable in there because grandma's lights on and I feel like she's partly with me, if that makes any sense. And so when I decorate for 2 holidays, it's just because I don't know what's going to happen down the road, so why not decorate for both holidays just in case? Number 4, you give great advice. I was wondering how you have gotten so wise for others. Thank you. I would say age is one thing. It makes you stop and think before you respond. It makes you go, if I was in that situation, how would I approach it? Not, oh my goodness, this is how you got to do it, because you just got to stop and don't bother thinking about it. And when I'm asked a question, I try to analyze it from all situations, and I try to remove myself as if I'm in that situation, but yet I can go, okay, I see where you're coming from. I see where the party you're asking is coming from. Now, this is what you do. And I hope as a friend, more or less, that I'm a good listening ear, that I'm a good sounding board, and that it's just advice that they can take it or leave it, or that if they do act on it, they don't regret it. Number 5, share a funny comment saying that you've experienced on a dating site. Well, as most of you know, I've learned this week of a POF, what is a stag and vixen relationship, which I don't ever want to be a part of, but I wish all those that are great success. Next, I would have to say one comment that is always bothering me on Tagged is when a gentleman will message me, so what's good? I'm like going, one of these days I'm going to message some guy back and I'm going to be like, I don't know, what's good at this restaurant? Because I'm becoming sarcastic. Maybe that's a bad quality to have, I don't know. But I've learned not to take life so serious. I have learned loosen up a bit, and most importantly, go after what makes you happy. Go after your goals, your wants and needs. I'm going to add a question 6 on there, which this was asked in the inbox. And I was like going, I don't know if I should even touch this question, but I'm going to go there anyway. The question was, it seems like your best relationship that you experienced Valentine's Day with was Mike. Do you regret that relationship ending? Do you feel like that North Carolina guys are better than Illinois men? We're going to stop right there. Do I regret that relationship ending? Well, you have to remember, at that time, I didn't want the relationship to end. He made it clear to me that distance got to him and that the best friend's wife was a better option because he didn't have to travel to go get what he wanted. And for that, I'm thankful in a way, because if we were to get together and years down the road break up and I have kids that probably wouldn't get to know their father, because I would have moved back to Illinois, no doubt, because my family is in Illinois. And as he would say to me, well, the distance got to me, I had to be with her. I would have said the distance got to me, I've got to be with my family. And I think that is what probably would have ended us in the end. Do I think that North Carolina men are better than Illinois men? All I have to say to that is I had 8.5 years. Not all 8.5 years was bad. Not all 8.5 years was good. But for the times that I had for those 8.5 years, I haven't met a man who could put up with me for longer than a date in 3 hours. And people say, why is that? And I say all the time, well, you can listen to excuses or you can listen to the reasons why it should have worked, or you can just not give a damn. And honestly, to be a man and be in a relationship, well, obviously I'm not a man, so I can't speak for the Illinois men, but what I can say is my experience is with the North Carolina man that I was in a relationship with, we had a lot of times that it would have been super easy to walk away. But what always impressed me about Mike was no matter how angry he got at me, no matter what the argument was about, he picked that phone up and he communicated. He sent me an email when I wouldn't pick up the phone and I wouldn't listen to the voicemails. Why? Because I was mad. And I would sit there and I would read the email before I would respond, and then I would respond later. So I would say the greatest thing that I had with a North Carolina man was no communication problem. And I feel like the internet, especially when you're in an internet relationship going to real life relationship, the worst thing is communication. Because you can say, well, you told me this in a text message, or I heard this on voicemail. But did you really hear it face to face, or was it through a communicative device? And I think the worst communication that you can have in this world is that cell phone. It has replaced your camera. It has replaced your, your telephone, like little address book. And so many other things that sometimes you can sit down with somebody for dinner and you're more concerned about what's going on in that little, hand pilot is what I call it, rather than a cell phone. And that's the worst thing that can rob you of so many joys. So I would say every relationship has been a learning relationship. I don't regret a one. And I know there was a question also that was asked to me is, you say you're taking the dating sites as a joke and no one seriously. What could make you overcome that? I will be honest. I am turning into Elizabeth Bennet. Very prideful. And I feel like it would almost take one hell of a good Donovan Darcy to put me on my hind end and go, you know what? I am here for you, and not just say it, but prove it. And with Mike, we always had that. I could, push him away as hard as I could. I could say the worst thing in the world. And the best thing that I will say about him is he'd say, okay, you're doing your damnedest to try to push me away. And I see that. And he wouldn't be physically seeing it, but he would be emotionally seeing it. And I think even though it was over the phone and it was over a text message, that the relationship that we had, it was probably the closest emotional relationship I've ever really experienced, if that makes any sense. Which is sad, yes, but true. And I'm being honest with you. I feel like the biggest connection that I have now is to my viewers, and there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like, excuse me. There we go. I'm a good sounding board. I'm a wonderful friend. But love isn't for everyone. Am I scared? You know I am. Okay? And I wanted my niece to take this wedding dress and sell it today. But she refused to do so. She wanted me to send pictures to her. I'm like looking for the pictures so I can send them to her because I want the dress sold. I honestly at this point respond with either when some guy messages me on these dating sites, if it's not the man that I want to respond, I'm blocking him. I'm not accepting friend requests. Even on Facebook, when I have my messages that are filtered, right now I am so quick at hitting delete because they don't have that one go-to power that Mike had. And it was that emotional connection that made me go, okay, he's serious. That connection to make me feel like I mattered, like that one girl said, and her question about that question she had was the reason she cheated was she wanted to feel like she mattered. Well, we can make excuses for every reason in the world why you cheat. However, if you feel something emotionally, from the heart, most importantly, then you act on it. You see what I'm saying? You don't think of reasons why you can't. You don't be like, okay, this comes first, this comes first, this comes first. You make that person your priority. You let that relationship be your priority, and you place that person number one and not number 100. With that being said, I'm going to sing one song now and shush up on my dear Bombshell questions. And we're going to sing a song, and I'm going to go work out. Love you all.